if the light does not bounce, it would be very, very dark. It would be like this. A totally black environment. We're going to see the difference, the various lights and values, which means that you have the diffuse lights. Diffuse lights means that usually it's I like to put examples of light to say like what's diffuse light. I don't really understand what it is. Well, it is exactly the light of a room, a bedroom that is with a window that is in like the north lights. It means that there are no sunlight in it, and we did not switch on the artificial lights in it. It's also a light that you can see on a cloudy day, a rainy day. So everything is a bit gray, and everything is usually with very soft shades, shadows, and a very soft light, which means that we have, for example, it's going to be a great drawing. We have the sun here, and we actually have clouds. We have a layer of clouds. So we have very strong lights coming here, and we only have a very few sun rays here coming on that object. Sorry. And so we have this surface here that is lit, but it's very subtle actually. And so that's the difference with direct light. Direct light is exactly the light that you see when it's sunny outside, and when you have a strong light during, I don't know, a show, or you just switch on the lights in your bedroom in the morning, so it's very, very strong. And you have, let's say, it can be the sun, it can be a lamp, it can be a lot of things, artificial lights that goes, bam, very directly on that surface here with the volume. And actually, it goes in one direction, but everywhere. Means that it can go over here and it goes over here. And what's pretty interesting with that is the fact that it bounces. Because if we did not have light that is supposed to bounce here, for example, so you can see here, the values here are a little bit different. Here we have a very simple gray value. Here we can see we have like gradients, meaning that if I just put that the object here, the sphere, we have a pretty strong shadow, and another pretty strong shadow here, the contact shadow with the own shadow of the object. And then we have something a little bit lighter here. This part is the bounce light. It means that if we did not have bounce lights, everything would be black. The shadow would be entirely black. So I have some examples. I decided to keep the colors, but we can also see that in black and white. I think keeping the colors is a good thing. So here's the same city. I believe it's Brighton, something like this in the UK. We have a first example of diffuse light, almost diffuse light. It's a bit cheated because we can definitely see here we have some sunlight, but forget about it because that's an example about a diffuse light. So why is it diffuse light? You can see that most of the sky it's pretty gray. It's cloudy. So it means that in terms of values here, you can clearly see that people don't have shadows. almost. I cannot really zoom in because you can see that it's a very bad quality image, but that's a good example to see here. The car only have shadows very under here. And it's going to be the same with the feet of these people. It's only here. It's a little bit here, but it's very subtle. So it's not really counting, let's say. Then we have another scene, same city, not the same street, unfortunately, with diffuse and direct light. So you can see that the direct light is coming from the sun, and it's going very like from the right to the left, hitting these parts of the buildings. Here, I think we have some other example here. So it's pretty high. It's pretty high, and we have in the shadow diffuse light, which means that if we did not have the lights that was going here, and actually it's also going everywhere here, but it's getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And so we have a difference of values. So we have a darker part of the photo here. This is the darker part. And the good thing is, because if the lights, as I said earlier, if the lights does not bounce, it would be very, very dark. It would be like this. A totally black environment. It would be like this. So being in the shadow would be very complicated. So yeah, it's a good thing that light bounces everywhere, because this is one of the things that gives that magical touch in your illustration. So we're going to have the last example of Brighton, which is the good thing because it's almost the same streets. I think it's the same. It's that part here in the illustration, so that's good. And here we can see that we have a very sunny day, and that very sunny day is pretty interesting because we have some very strong values in the shades. We have some very interesting thing to see about the bounce lights, for example, on this monument. So why is that? Actually, if you look closely on this part, I don't know if you can all see what I'm showing. This part, we can clearly see that the value of the shadow here, so that very part here, and here are absolutely not the same. So if I can show, we have a color, let's say I'm gonna saturate a little more. So we have this color thanks to the sun, but it's in the shadow. So it's gonna be darker here. And the sun is going to put a very strong light, very, very strong light, and creating shadows here. And well, the sun is going to heat the ground and bounce once again. Once again. So you can see that here, from here, this is a lot darker. And here it's closer from the ground, and the ground is very lit. So it bounces everywhere it can bounce.